The big breaking news right now in a major development in the cash for query controversy involving Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament Mahua Moitra. Now the CBI has started a preliminary probe against the MP. This is on the directions of the Lokpal. Remember, this matter of cash for queries allegation against Mahua Moitra was sent to the Lokpal by BJP MP Nishikant Dubey, and now the Lokpal has passed it on to the CBI, who has begun a preliminary inquiry, and the agency will decide through this inquiry whether or not to file a criminal case against Mahua Moitra based on the outcome of this current inquiry. What we have learned is that there's a timeline that has been given of 3 to 6 months to complete this inquiry, and under a preliminary inquiry, the CBI cannot arrest an accused or conduct searches, but it can seek information. It can also question the Trinamool Congress Member of Parliament. The CBI complaint in the case had been filed by Supreme Court lawyer Jai Anant Dehadrai, who had alleged that Ms. Moitra had taken bribe from businessman Darshan Hiranandani to ask questions in Parliament against the Adani Group. That is the allegation, that Mahua Moitra asked questions specifically against the Adani Group on the behest of Darshan Hiranandani, who was a business competitor. Well, let's go across to Vasudha now for more. And Vasudha, now the CBI to begin this preliminary inquiry against Mahua Moitra on the basis of the Lokpal recommendation. Already she has faced the Ethics Committee of the Lok Sabha, and it is expected she will be expelled from Parliament.
Absolutely, Gargi. We know the Ethics Committee, the 15-member Ethics Committee met twice, and then, she was also given a chance, the TMC MP Mahua Moitra was also given a chance to present her side of the story. Of course, we know that the meeting turned quite stormy, and both Jai Anant Dehadrai and Nishikant Dubey were asked to make oral submissions about the evidence that they have for raising these kind of allegations. They had precisely said that of the 61 questions that she had asked in the Parliament, 50 were pertaining to perpetuating the interest of the Hiranandani Group and against the interest of the Adani Group. So they were seeming to suggest that she was in the midst of this corporate rivalry and was asking questions at the behest of a corporate person. So that clearly does not go with the code of ethics and code of conduct that MPs are supposed to follow. So the Ethics Committee had recommended her disqualification. Now, of course, the Lokpal has sort of sent the complaint to the CBI. The CBI starts its preliminary inquiry, and like you rightly said, the time frame of the inquiry could be about 3 to 6 months. But it is also clear that the Ethics Committee, had clearly said in its report that it doesn't have the wherewithal, the technical wherewithal to look to probe these matters of criminality. But prima facie, it did say that the evidence is against her, and of course, it had also cited serious concerns regarding sharing of login credentials that Mahua Moitra herself has admitted to. So a lot of trouble for Ms. Moitra clearly, but let's also remember that all these allegations are in the realm of speculations, and Ms. Moitra has been rebutting them, and clearly there is a lot more that is at play, but a lot of trouble here because the Ethics Committee has clearly said that she is in the wrong here. Now the CBI stepping into the picture also makes the picture all the more murky for her, and the Parliament session begins on December 4th, so a lot of action packed against her in the coming days.
All right, Vasudha, thanks so much for joining us with those details. We're now also joined by Manish Barrier, political analyst, Sanjay Singh, and Geeta Bhatt, also with us, political analyst, someone who supports the BJP. Geeta Bhatt, your reaction to this big development, the CBI filing this preliminary inquiry against Mahua Moitra?
Well, Gargi, the way things have been going in this case, in Mahua Moitra's case, I think this was something which was coming. Considering that, the allegations which have been there, and the Ethics Committee, after its observations, has put forth that, giving up the access to the portal of the Indian Parliament, this is something which could actually mean very serious threats to national security. And also it raises a lot of questions on the, moral and ethics of a parliamentarian who, for whatever reasons, we can give access or the password to any individual, besides herself. And, in fact, after that, this time the Parliament has actually put forth that even the PAs are not being allowed to access the the portal of their member of parliament, and this is being called as the Mahua Moitra effect.
Right, because Mahua Moitra did argue that there was nothing, that specific in the rules that one could not share, and that every member of parliament's team would have access to that login.
Yes, but I think the question that actually one poses is that why is it that she had to actually give the access to people who are businessmen, and she in a way if we understand, she has tacitly also accepted it. And what I think is that the way she has been going on criticizing, especially on a moral high ground, the Prime Minister, and then with all these allegations coming forth, I think this itself puts a question mark on her credibility, on Mahua Moitra's credibility, that how can someone allow, because this is something which you cannot hide, because one can very easily access and find out the IP address from which that login has been made.
Right, but Geeta, but as you said, she's admitted this, that she did indeed share it with Hiranandani. However, the issue is of this quid pro quo, and that is something that the CBI will now look into. These are all allegations. The Ethics Committee has, found it that they have given in their recommendation to the Lok Sabha, but now the CBI will look into whether indeed there was any sort of pecuniary benefits that were given to Mahua Moitra, and that is the real crux of it, whether there was corruption.
Absolutely. The Ethics Committee, and one more thing is that the Ethics Committee does not have the jurisdiction actually to question anyone outside anyone who's not a member of parliament. Their questioning will only be restricted to people who are a part of the parliament. So now, I think when the case has been taken up by CBI, they can also call, other individuals or businessmen who have been named, and actually look into that if there is a corruption which is involved, there are financial transactions or any such issues. That kind of an investigation will definitely be, I think, done by the CBI.
All right. Thanks so much. Sanjay Singh also with us. Sanjay Singh, your reaction to this, and if we can just look at, the politics as well. Recently you had Mamata Banerjee coming out and for the first time speaking on this entire episode and saying that they are going to, Mahua Moitra is going to be removed from Parliament. However, that she will come back with a, even higher number of votes in the next elections.
See, first, the Lokpal asking CBI to pursue the case and CBI filing a preliminary inquiry, which effectively means that CBI has begun inquiry on this particular case. And the criminality aspect of what Mahua Moitra has done, the Ethics Committee already has held her guilty and recommended to the Parliament, to the Speaker, that her membership be taken away. And that should happen during the winter session when it starts early next month. Now the criminality aspect, because the issue here was that she gave her login and password to Hiranandani, to Darshan Hiranandani, and Darshan Hiranandani and his men put in questions, and for that she was given cash and also gifts of various kind, very expensive gifts, and top-notch brands from across the world, and also certain whatever she wanted for her household and her travels abroad. All these things will be investigated by the CBI because that ethics part is over now. Now the criminality part, and which is much more serious issue, not just for Mahua Moitra but also for Trinamool Congress and Mamata Banerjee. That leads to second part, the question that you asked. Now, Mamata Banerjee is a seasoned politician. She knows as to where this whole issue may be headed to and what ultimately may happen in this particular case when CBI begins its investigation. It was very easy for 5 members of the Ethics Committee making some noises and saying something because few things out there are decided and talked about in party lines. When CBI makes an inquiry and comes to whatever conclusion, that would be further scrutinized by court of law. And Mamata Banerjee knows that prior to going to court of law, she also has this particular battle will have to be fought in public perception, not just in Bengal, but outside of West Bengal also. Now, therefore, when Mamata Banerjee says that in some times to come, she will be removed from parliament, but in next election, she will return with bigger margin. And goes on to add that every day she will hold press conferences and every day there will be publicity. Even now, media houses friendly to her and wanting to give her a good kind of image and picture are publishing her. No, every journalist should take her interview. No doubts about that. But the way questions are framed and the way it is taken, they're two different things. That part is political when she says about that. The question is, when time comes, will Mamata Banerjee actually give ticket to Mahua Moitra?
Well, I think a recent statement does show that she does clearly support her, member of her party. But Manish Barrier, what about what Mahua herself has been claiming and Trinamool Congress claiming that she is being targeted for being very outspoken critic of the Prime Minister, as well as a very outspoken, somebody who's been going on about the Adani group, and now it's being alleged this was at the behest of Hiranandani. However, she has gone on and she's countered all these allegations against her, saying she's being targeted, and things are moving so fast in terms of the ethics committee and now the CBI inquiry because of this.
No. See, these are two different matters. One understands that she was at the forefront as far as the attack on Adani and as well as on Prime Minister, and it was her political right, as a representative of a political party, she had every right to do that. But you cannot combine these two issues. She is facing a massive issue of corruption and propriety and ethics. And who knows whether only it is about Hiranandani or there are more issues like this. We do not know. We have only concentrated on Hiranandani. But what stops us from speculating that she might be doing this with other groups as well as other entities, and she might be asking questions or other kinds of pecuniary benefits she might be taking for some political advantage to some other corporates. So it's a very, very serious issue. And if you take this to a larger issue, then we are debating or we are looking at that maybe member of parliament at large, are they doing something like this? And therefore, this investigation was very important to give a strong message that this cannot continue now. Because the way she has behaved, as if she has not done anything, right? I am really shocked at the brazenness, and I'm sorry to use a very harsh word, but shamelessness in the way she has gone into. She has been caught lying. She has been caught and she has admitted that she has done something like this. Imagine somebody, normal person would have done, taken money and asked questions, what would have happened? But she believes...
Right, though she has not admitted to taking money. She has admitted that she did ask questions for Hiranandani and shared her login. Yes, and that's why the ethics committee did find it, has recommended she be removed from parliament.
But in kind is as good as money, right? We are talking about gifts of 50 lakhs and 60 lakhs. So it's not something which is, a small piece of...
No, I don't think she's admitted to that. She admitted to some scarf and some lipsticks, but not receiving, gifts as a quid pro quo for the questions. And this again is something that the CBI is going to look into, whether it can be proven.
Bags, she brought that bag into parliament. That bag is considered around 15-16 lakh rupees, right? And she has admitted, okay, this was the bag, I got it. So these are not, 100-200 rupees things. Watches we are talking about. So I'm saying what she has admitted. I'm not even getting into what others have claimed. That itself is something which is pecuniary benefit, right? In kind or cash, it's one and the same thing.
Well, she's claimed that Darshan Hiranandani was a friend and that he did give her some gifts. Only what I've heard is a scarf and some lipstick. So the bag, etc., is something that was in the news earlier. And she says that she was an investment banker and could very well afford her own bags. But yes, the issue of cash for query is a very serious one. And, it brings us back to 2005 when we had a very serious issue of cash for query in which, members of parliament were removed at that time. Around 11 of them, 6 of them from the BJP, one from the Congress, one from another party, etc. So at that time also this was a huge scandal, and rightly so. It's now being investigated. But Sanjay Singh, your remarks on this fact that Mahua Moitra has claimed that she's being targeted for the kind of issues that she's raising.
See, anybody, no matter where and what, when Lalu Prasad Yadav says a convicted person that this is a political political case, and he was harassed for whatever kinds. Anybody who has done anything wrong, how many have you ever heard that somebody accepting the kind of illegality or wrongdoing that one has committed? I have not come across of any such thing by any politician or even by other persons who are accused of something. Mahua Moitra, and therefore I say Mahua Moitra thing become far more serious for Trinamool Congress and also for India Alliance, because the very question that you asked, that she was a foremost member and somebody who was raising issues against Prime Minister Modi. There are 542 members, about 800 members Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and so many legislators, so many other public representatives. They all are members in opposition ranks, are making so much noises against Prime Minister Modi. But is there a CBI case and somebody admitting that yes, she passed on login and credential and some other corporate entity asked question on her behalf? Until this incident came to light, she practically was voice for a corporate entity against another corporate entity, that is Adani, for some business interest. And as we know now, for whatever happened in Supreme Court also, the observations made by Supreme Court in this particular, since Adani's name came here, there is a large caucus, large nexus of people who claim of something else and actually intend to be something else. So Mahua Moitra's case is, Mahua Moitra may be an individual, but this malice is symbolic of something far more bigger. And therefore, there lies worries not only for Mahua Moitra, of course, if CBI investigation proceeds and they find something of a quid pro quo and cash or bribes. See, cash cannot be proved. That's a very difficult thing to prove. Maybe her travel expenses met by Darshan Hiranandani, that could be an issue where CBI can come out with some evidence. Some gifts given to her, maybe those could be of some evidence to CBI and so on and so forth. There could be a whole lot of other things. The CBI can also go in criminality of her login password accessed by a corporate group against for business interest. That thing also can involve criminality. Ethics Committee did not go in that part. And therefore, when that comes, for Trinamool Congress, already several senior leaders of Trinamool Congress are facing serious charges. Some of them are in jail and not getting bail. So, and for NDA Alliance, as you said, Mahua Moitra claims that she was foremost member. One last thing. Mahua Moitra very arrogantly keeps on saying, let CBI come, register FIR or whatever, make investigations, come and count my 1,015 or whatever shoes that she has. Now, perhaps her wishes could come true.
Well, yes, that was something she would always, counter and take on the CBI and say, come and count my shoes, trying to play down in a sense. But Vasudha, who's been tracking this story very closely, now joining us. So the trouble really mounting for Mahua Moitra with this preliminary inquiry by the CBI and with, come December, and she's expected to be expelled from Parliament.
Absolutely, Gargi. I think the submissions made by both Home Ministry and MEA talking about the logins that have been made from Dubai, and also Home Ministry talking about our locations, and IT Ministry talking about this whole sharing of login credentials that happened. And, login credentials are something that, of course, everyone knows that they can't be shared because clearly there are implications to this. There are drafts of important bills that are given to MPs for their input. So this is one way the parliamentary democracy functions. And the login is seen as critical to consultative processes. So that is one thing that, the government, the Home Ministry had said in its submission to the Ethics Committee. And if you look at the Ethics Committee report, it's very clear on one front that there is prima facie evidence of wrongdoing on the part of Mahua Moitra. But the committee makes it very clear that it doesn't have the technical wherewithal to look at the criminality aspect of it. It's not a probing agency. And it does ask for appropriate agencies to take sort of like charge of this. And that is witnessed what has happened today with the Lokpal asking the CBI to look into this picture, and the CBI sort of like, filing a PE on this issue clearly shows that in next about 3 to 6 months, this issue might actually, we could actually, get some evidence of what really happened. Now, Mahua Moitra has been saying that all of this is completely false. She has admitted to taking some parts of, what she is alleged to have taken. She said that she's taken some lipsticks and makeup items. She said that she used to ask Mr. Hiranandani to arrange for her travel when she was in Mumbai, but she has refuted taking money. She has refuted taking financing for her elections, or these big gifts that Mr. Dehadrai and Mr. Nishikant Dubey have been alleging, and she's been asking for an itemized list. But here, Mr. Hiranandani, who is supposedly the bribe giver, has actually given a signed affidavit clearly saying that he was under some sort of pressure to basically listen to what she was asking for, and he has actually done favors to her in lieu of asking questions. And if you look at this, 50 questions of the 61 questions, many of them are related to esports and commercial real estate and energy, ports, whole lot of, business areas that both Hiranandani Group and Adani Group have been involved in, which makes it quite murky for her because, even if she says that, well, she was just asking questions and, she was getting the OTP and all, the fact that her login was accessed 73 times from the same IP address in Dubai actually lands her in a lot of trouble. And now with the CBI getting into the picture, the CBI is, of course, a premier investigating agency which will look into the criminality aspect of it. And her whole question of where is the cash, with Mr. Hiranandani also saying that he has given her gifts in the past for many years, since 2017 that he met her during this Bengal summit, makes it, makes the probe actually very intense. And I think that is where now, of course, with December 4th, the parliament session starting and her expulsion sort of like real, almost imminent, and with the ethics committee talking about it, and now the Lokpal, CBI, and of course IT ministry also looking at the security credentials, whole lot of trouble for her. And I would also say that TMC has not really come out completely in support of her. Of course, Mamata Banerjee has said her in in this long speech that she talked about Jyotipriya Malik and Partho and Farhad Hakim. She did talk about her, but she did not really come out and to be, known as the speed fighter who has come out every time a minister of hers has been raided or sort of like really jailed. Mamata Banerjee has been really protective of her people, and that was missing this time. And it took her a long time to actually break her silence also. And when she finally did, it was, a few sentences. That's about it. So that also means that there is a political sort of like, implication to this. And of course, Bengal is an important state for the BJP. Remember that even in 2019, the party did win 18 of the 42 seats, and that had really shocked the TMC. So clearly many different angles here. And I would also like to ask Mr. Sanjay Singh, what is going to be the political implications of something like this? Because India Alliance, BJP is often allegedly, it's been using these raids and, this misuse of agencies is right.
Very sorry, Vasudha, to interrupt you there. We're, running out of time, and we have Ashutosh Srivastav also, who's just joined us as the other two speakers have had a chance to speak. I'd like to hear Ashutosh's comments. Ashutosh, now a matter for the CBI to investigate, and they will have to prove that there is actually some kind of corruption here. It's a preliminary inquiry at the moment.
This question is for me?
Yes, Ashutosh.
Yes. As we have seen that when the ethics committee took up the matter, they could come out to a conclusion that there is a prima facie case. And accordingly, since there are other aspects of the matter which pertains to the criminal acts being conducted, basically about, I think, the provisions under the Prevention of Corruption Act, and also about the national security, which will be the main basis for the investigation by the CBI for its future investigation and consideration in the matter. Now, with this preliminary inquiry which the CBI is going to conduct, they will come to a conclusion whether any FIR is also required to be registered, and if there is any, further investigation or custodial interrogation which might be required, and also to collect any evidences or, to cross-examine or maybe to take the statements of the concerned witnesses as to what has taken place and how the security of our country has been, compromised, or to what extent has it been compromised, or if there are any chances that this kind of act could lead to some other issues in future. So, considering all these aspects, the CBI will do further investigation. If they come to a conclusion that yes, there is a prima facie case so far as the criminality of the matter is concerned, and then the FIR is, supposed to be registered, and then, the further investigation will take place, and accordingly the charge sheet and all can be prepared.
All right.
So
Thank
it's
you.
Other aspect of the matter, not only the ethical committee, but also the criminal part of the matter.
That's right. Thank you so much, Ashutosh, also for joining us, and Manish Barrier and Sanjay Singh. We're completely out of time, but that's the big breaking news we've been bringing you right now. The CBI has registered an inquiry on the allegations against Mahua Moitra of cash for query, and they will now look into this matter. They have 3 to 6 months to decide whether or not they have enough to go to file an FIR. We'll continue to track this story. For the moment, slipping into a short break.